I'd like to dedicate this to my husband Philip and my daughter Vera, who are here. And this is a short poem called Permeable Smitten. That's permeable, comma, smitten. And it's a sonnet. Piped in linen, penetrates veins, ignites obsession. I become sound, a black box speaker tipped to kiss stage floor, deaf dancer pirouetting on the boom beat of desire, her percussive metatarsals. Oh, to buzz about something else, rearrange the marquee. Your role not stroking the fine hairs of my spine, just so. The after show remains unseen. A room at the Chateau Marmont, my naked knees reciting Keats every which way. Reservations we press from wet house ashes of our burning houses. Strange how I've never loved my husband, bare-fleshed in the kitchen more. Your eyes, a feast of saints, my hands inhaling two worlds. Thank you.
You just won.
I just won the Beyond Baroque Poetry Award for 2011. Yes, for a poem I wrote called Permeable Smitten. So that's permeable, comma, smitten. And it's a sonnet. And it's kind of an Italian sonnet. So
Was this something you had hanging around, or did you set out to win this?
you know, I wrote it not too long ago. I've been writing quite a bit. And I just finished another series of sonnets. So I kind of seem to have been, I'm returning to exploring some of those formal forms, which is kind of fun, after writing in a much more sort of elongated free verse style. So
Was the winning first place a big surprise, or?
it was a big surprise. It was a really big surprise, and I'm incredibly grateful. It's really fun to win. It's not why I write, but it's lovely when it happens, so I really appreciate the acknowledgement. This is my family scooting behind me.
Right behind
yeah, you can be seen, actually. This is my husband, Philip.
Hi.
And Vera.
Hello.
Both wonderful artists in their own rights.
Yes.
I have a book coming out. It's called Notes to the Beloved, and it just won the Sacramento Poetry Center Book Award. And I have some wonderful people reading it and blurbing it, and once again, that was just came out of the blue, you know? Just been working along on a lot of projects. I've been doing a lot of poem films. I've been making a lot of little 2-minute poem films, and
Poem films.
yes.
Can we see those on your website?
They're on my website.
Oh,
Yeah, if you look on the right, there's a link.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing a lot of music. I was inspired by a poet named Todd Boss, and I saw some of his poem films, and I thought I've got to do some of those, and I've also been writing some plays, but when I did finally get it back around to messing around with the poem film thing, I just pull scraps of footage, photographs that I take, and then I take a poem, kind of a montage thing, and then there's music and poems that kind of, it just sort of comes into my head, pops into my head that, or, you know, this is the one that I want to work on, and I start to see it the way I want it to be, and then of course as I'm doing it, it all changes because you make what comes to you at the time to make it.
Now you've been doing some teaching lately?
Yes.
Is this new, or?
I did a little bit of teaching over the last 10 years, but I really had to wait until my kids were a little more settled, and then I trained to become a California poet in the schools. And I love that work. I was able to get a grant, and so I'm teaching, I think I'm going to reach about 400 kids this year. And I love that work. And I'm also teaching at UCLA in the extension, a class I created called The Multitasking Muse, Finding Your Poetic Voice Through Exploration of Multiple Art Forms. So I love that. And then I also teach downtown at Twin Towers Prison, courtesy of a grant from Poets and Writers magazine and a Progressive Episcopal Church, sort of a combined grant there. So it's a lot of things going on at one time, but then when you create a class called The Multitasking Muse, Finding Your Poetic Voice Through Exploration of All These Things, I guess you need to be exploring all those things. So.
You have to live up to it.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good life. Yeah.
Well, thank you for speaking with us, and congratulations again on your award.
Thank you, and thank you for this great work you do. It's really, really wonderful. Thanks.
Well, as they say, no problem.
And hooray for Beyond Baroque.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Look at this. They're decked out in red, white, and blue today.
This is called Ladies Sketch Club on the Beach, Pacific Grove, California, 1890. To order light, dear sister, to wield a vest pocket clock and boss around the day is not considered women's work. Yet truly I live on scrapes of Prussian blue and gamboge crimson, go through tubes and tubes of bright lead white, the cruelest white for foam and spray and ocean, pinned down with my palette knife. I'm under the raucous spell of light and the sea swelling in me, the dried colors caked under my fingernails, all the proof I need. Let my smocks, neglected, yellow and gray, I don't care. Only let me wait out for the golden hour. See how it polishes even a crude thing like my sweat to a flesh glamour. It's not order, cleanliness, not our Father's God I serve. Behold my sin, like beach tar, whiskered blackly in sand and burnt umber.
What is the name of your poem?
The name of my poem is Ladies Sketch Club on the Beach, Pacific Grove, California, 1890.
Is this based on a photograph?
How did you know that?
Wild guess. Could have been an engraving, but I suppose.
You know, the inspiration was a photograph that was of a woman in full Victorian dress, painting at the beach in the sand, black head to toe, black dress, like and a hat with her easel. And from there I took the inspiration of, the poem is something like an ars poetica in that it's about why we make art and what you overcome to make art and how bad you want to make art that you would do it even if you neglect other things. And it was in a book of photographs that Lynn Thompson had at this David St. John workshop up in Idlewild, and that was the genesis of the poem.
So you wrote, how long ago did you write it?
I started writing it last summer, and then you know, I kind of tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it, and then I sent it off to this contest. So like you know, year.
Mm-hmm.
I finished it finally maybe in the spring of this year. I'm putting my first collection together. It almost exists.
So how long have you been writing and workshopping? Yeah.
So I started writing short stories, which kept getting more and more condensed. I started writing short stories with Stephanie Waxman, and they kept getting shorter and shorter. And then I walked into a poetry class with Laurel Ann Bogan, and my life changed.
The great things about being here today is that my former girlfriend of 5 years, Shirley Young, donated a book to the archive called Grotesquerie. She died in April, and she was a much better reader than I am, so I'll try to keep her in my thoughts here as I read this. She said, Scott, you know, when you read something, I want you to make it feel like it's the best thing you ever read in your life, is what she told me. So I'll try to do that for her. Before I was here, I taught in Illinois for 2 years, and then I've been at San Diego for 14 years. And so I noticed in central Illinois, there's this huge mix of racism, but also family. And so this poem had its origins in that experience. It is a symbolic poem. Jacob describes the man behind the counter. The man behind the counter says he doesn't take out-of-state cash. When I ask how exactly he can tell the difference between my 5 and an Illinois 5, he asks, "Are you saying I'm blind, son?" When I say, "No, sir, it's just a hot day and I'm thirsty," he says he doesn't like my fish tattoo. That a rainbow trout isn't appropriate in these parts. That he could live with a bass or even a walleye. And furthermore, he ran out of idiot repellent a few days ago. But sure wishes he had some now. When I ask, for me or you, he stares real quiet. "You ain't from around here," he squints, like a scene in a Western, which is odd since this is the Midwest where all the lazy, worn out, or cowardly set up camp. Before I reach for the gun, we hear a beautiful symphony of insects.